go big or go home. He proposes or he goes off, right?
Yeah.
And that is why date coach Kaiden Tay is here giving you some relationship advice.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
So Kaiden, today you're talking about whether we should continue or
Break up.
or break up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this applies to dates. If you're just going out casually with a guy, or if you just got into a relationship, or even if you've been in a relationship for a while.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So this is something which I feel very important, and it is that you must feel that it is easy to get close to the guy.
Yes.
Right. It's really important. So some of you might be thinking, like, obviously, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be with him. But I've actually seen a lot of cases where the lady feels like she's always walking on eggshells
Right.
whenever she's around the guy.
That's not nice.
Yeah, it's not nice, but it happens.
Right.
Why? Because he
so
scares her?
yeah,
He has
he
a
scares her.
temper? He doesn't accept her for who she is?
All this, exactly. So if
Yeah.
she says something and it is like, to him it's stupid, and
Yeah.
then he just like flares up and he says like, what's so stupid? So she starts to like learn not to say anything and learn
Yeah.
to like really keep a check on who
Right.
she is.
Right.
When she's with him.
So she's always walking in eggshells,
Yeah.
never really, comfortable.
Yeah, I know of people
Yeah.
who married that
Yeah.
kind of guys, and I
Yeah.
can tell you that always either ends up in tears, divorce, or just a very miserable
Yeah, it's
existence.
Yeah,
Very,
it's terrible.
very, very
I feel
miserable.
very badly for these women, man.
Yeah. And what I notice is a lot of times how these women end up with this kind of guys is that they like the idea of him.
Right.
They like the money that he makes,
Yeah.
or his friends, or
Right.
his job.
Yeah.
They, on paper, they are like good matches.
Yeah.
But when they don't really like him for him.
Who he is.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I
Correct.
mean, ultimately, when it comes to relationship, it is about the heart, not so much the head and what you see, right?
Yes, correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of people choose based on the head.
Right.
And that is why you end up into, you don't want to lose this guy who's making a lot of money, who
Yeah.
has got this lifestyle that you want,
Yeah.
but who's also very bad-tempered because of his
Well, that's
money.
the thing. A lot of women are attracted to power. Let's face facts.
Yes.
But the thing is, a lot of these guys who become powerful, they become powerful in the first place because they're
not very nice.
not very
Yeah.
nice guys.
Yeah.
There's a word for it. I can't say on air.
Well done.
They're not very nice guys,
Yeah.
and therefore it's difficult for you to get close to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll be miserable your whole life.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and next.
What about this scenario where the girl is very comfortable with the guy, things are, going along, they're just chugging along, but never really reaching any height.
Hey, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
until
it just
season
moves
6.
along and moves along, moves along, moves
It
along.
just keeps chugging along, chugging along.
Yeah, he doesn't propose. She waits, but he doesn't do anything. But she's
Okay.
comfortable,
Okay,
So
alright.
what does that tell you?
Okay, so the question is whether the girl wants to get married. So I'm going to assume yes.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I think this is a question.
Like, duh.
Yeah.
If you're in it for so long.
Yeah.
No, but if you've been in it for so long, you want it to go somewhere to take it to the next level, no?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know of a few like divorcees, people in their 40s, 50s, they don't want to get married because
Right.
they have a
They've
family.
been there and they've
Yeah.
done that,
Yeah,
right?
they have a family and they don't want.
But let's talk about those
Okay,
who want
to.
Okay.
All right. So if you want to, it's very important. Okay, so what happens is a lot of girls have this fantasy.
Yeah.
Is that one day my boyfriend will kneel down
Yeah.
and propose to me in public and make me so embarrassed and I
Yeah.
have to say yes.
Yeah.
So they have this fantasy
Yeah.
that it will just happen out of nowhere.
Okay.
All right. The point is, it doesn't happen like this most of the time.
Right.
Oh.
So there's always a build up
Of
season.
anticipation,
Yes, not anticipation. So usually it's the girls that will bring up the topic of marriage.
Right.
All right, and establish that yes, I want to get married, and if not, then I think perhaps we're not we're not on the right track.
That's
Okay.
right.
The guy should do the proposal.
Right,
But
right,
the
right.
girl will be the one privately
Yeah.
bringing up the topic of marriage.
And it's okay
Right.
for a girl to bring it up.
yes, it's like, where are we going?
Yeah.
Like,
I think
where are
that's
we going
reasonable.
with this relationship?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. Like
So you
to-
don't say, I want to marry you.
Yeah.
Okay, but to let him know your expectation
Yes.
for a relationship,
Correct,
like
correct.
you are the marrying sort.
Yes,
you
correct.
do want it to go somewhere at some point.
Exactly.
And can you actually hint that if it's not gonna go anywhere, like don't waste my time?
It's
Is
not
that
hinting.
okay?
You should say it out.
Yeah.
We should
So
say.
let's say if this girl or this guy that you're dating refuses to get married, then you should move on.
Yeah.
He's not going to suddenly marry you.
No, I have a personal experience with this. I dated a girl for like 7 years, then we moved it in together, and then I ended up moving to Asia, and I basically wasted 7 years of her life, and it haunts me to this day. I still feel bad about it. I knew I was never going to marry her, I should have broken
So
up
if
with her.
she had asked, would you have told her?
Yeah, actually, I tried to break up with her a few times, but she kept clinging to me, you know? And so I felt bad about it.
And here's the thing, right? Sometimes it's because the guy just doesn't want to marry you.
Yes,
that's why.
And it
Maybe
really
it's
boils
you.
down
Yeah.
to that. You know what I mean?
No.
You're just not the one for him.
Correct.
Ladies, if it's been a few years and the guy is still reluctant to marry you, I would honestly say, based on my own personal experience, move on. If you really want to get married.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, Kaiden?
Yes,
mean,
I agree. I
Really
totally
good
agree.
people can end up in bad relationships
It's true.
too.
It's true.
It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. He's just not the one for you.
My own wife, I proposed to her after a month.
See?
So I knew.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to come back with your questions right here on Kiss.
It's the things that you make me.
It's Kiss 92, and we've got 3 guys in the room here. So I'm just going to put it out there and ask you guys, right? Because I've observed that when it comes to guys, if you're going to marry the girl, you know it within 6 months. Is that true or false?
Yes. I told you, I proposed to my wife after the first month. You just know, you just have this craving for the woman. There's no doubt in your mind. In my opinion and in my experience anyway.
Right.
Arnold, was yours the same experience?
It wasn't a month. Well, it's relatively quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for Arnold, quick kiss.
Yeah. He's like an ant.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean,
Lord of the Rings.
quick is not quick, but still quite quick.
Yeah.
You too, right, Kaiden?
Okay, so for myself, I think this small sample is quite skewed because we're all married.
That's true. That's true.
So if we look at guys that are not married and like their late 30s, 40s,
Different.
quite different actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
You
quite
think
different.
so? So they could end up with a woman stringing her on for 5-6 years and suddenly decide to marry them, or the chances become really slim?
Okay, if let's say this guy is 30 plus and he's not married, he is not going to suddenly spring a proposal.
So
on
he
you.
will continue to he will continue to take his time.
Yes,
as
he will-
he's been for 30 years.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, exactly. So my point is,
okay.
it's not. So girls out there, if you're dating a guy who's late 30s and at least 2 years, he is not going to spring a proposal
Yep.
on you.
That's
you
right.
have to make it happen.
How
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you make it happen and not in the end always question yourself years down the road if you forced him into it? Did he really want to marry you? Or did you make him? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So did you force him to marry you? In the end, right? Whether it's forced or not.
Not say forced, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like coaxed him into it. Yeah.
Shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
Well, that's one way. the important thing is whether the quality of marriage, whether it's good or not.
Yeah.
And my stand is this: even if you have to coax him into it, if in the end everything works out for the best, then it is for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's mature
Because some
attitude.
guys, right? They just they have this like irrational fear.
Yeah.
So they feel that like it's going to take away a lot of things from me.
Yeah.
Or it's very bad.
Actually,
And-
not just guys.
Yeah.
We've got a
Yeah.
Kiss fan here who texts in, and she says she thinks she's probably commitment phobic.
Yep.
She's in her late 20s. All
Right.
her friends are getting married,
Yep.
having babies, so she
Yeah.
feels slightly pressured. But she's with a serious relationship, so she feels that she should get married, but she's a little scared.
Okay.
So she's asking you, right? What are some of the things she should ask herself and evaluate before she takes the next step?
Okay, so it's actually really normal to get scared before you get married. So
course.
nothing wrong with that. Like everybody does it. But the thing is, there's always certain fears that you have, and you have to really sit down and think, what am I so afraid of?
Yeah.
And if you cannot think about it yourself, you might have to go to a therapist, go for a professional. So what this person does is like, you figure out what are you so afraid of, and as what my wife likes to say, work together with your boyfriend or your husband to solve those things.
So if you come from a broken family, you might fear failure or
Yeah,
exactly.
him walking out on
Yes.
you.
You'd be cynical about marriage.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
him walking out. It can even be as like, I have no time to spend with my friends, or I'm afraid that I'll have mother-in-law problems.
Right.
Because my friend has mother-in-law problems.
Right,
see.
right, right.
A lot
Whatever.
of people, I mean, and again, this is coming from, a married person's point of view. But, I was once told that marriage, when you meet the right person, it should be enabling
Right.
and not disabling.
Yeah.
You should feel like you can accomplish more together.
Yeah,
because
exactly,
at the end of the
exactly.
day, there's 2 heads, 2 income.
That's right.
2 hearts.
Yeah.
And 2 brains.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? You should be able to do more. But if you feel that you're gonna be doing less with this person,
Yeah.
then maybe you're not compatible.
That's
Right.
true.
That's a
But-
very good way of
Yeah,
saying it.
that's
You know
a
what I
good
mean?
way, man.
It should open up more doors and
It is,
allows
it
you to
is.
fulfill more dreams. Okay,
Yeah.
last question.
One question here, another one via SMS as well. Should a girl turn things around and sort of fast track the whole thing by making the proposal?
Okay, so as of today, 2016, in Singapore culture, I don't think most girls would want to do it.
Yeah.
Would want to or not?
Would not want to.
No, most girls wouldn't want to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
and most guys would not. They wouldn't want the girl to do it as
So
well.
it's a cultural
Yeah, it's a
thing.
cultural
Yeah.
thing. But like I said just now, don't expect. I mean, just saying this, don't expect the guy to just spring a proposal out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So you have to talk about it.
You hint first, right?
Yeah, you hint, you talk about. Actually, I prefer the word talk about it. You actually seriously talk about, like, where is this relationship
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
And where
are
do you
we
see
going-
yourself in the future?
Yeah, are we going to get married? Is this
What's
something?
your hopes and your dreams and your vision
Correct,
for
correct.
us,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. And it's interesting because I've got girls, clients who say they don't dare to talk about such topics with their boyfriends. And it's a very, very enlightening moment because if you don't dare to talk about such stuff with your boyfriend,
Yeah.
then it's something you have to think about.
it says
like,
something about your
yes,
relationship.
Yes,
right?
it says
Right?
how safe and how comfortable you feel with him.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's a sign itself actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
that's how you should think about it. Like if you feel safe and comfortable enough, then go and talk to him about it.
And you should feel safe and comfortable enough to
should,
talk
yeah.
about anything that is bugging you.
Yes.
Your partner should be your best friend. And
Yeah.
you wouldn't be afraid to talk about stuff with your best friend, right?
Yes. Yeah. So that's also true.
Yeah.
All right, and that was our date coach Kaidan Tay on relationships. If there's a topic you want us to cover or you want us to answer more of your questions next week when he's back here on Tuesday, you just drop us an email beforehand. It's breakfast at kiss92.sg.
It's Kiss Night.